When Judge Simpson called this hearing, no one expected it to turn into one of the most disturbing moments of the day. A victim's chilling testimony, shocking allegations, and a courtroom left in complete silence. Watch until the end to see how Judge Simpson handled it.
Court calls case, People State of Michigan versus James Burton at.
And then on behalf of people, Your Honor.
Assistant Public Defender Ben Dunlap on behalf of Mr. Adkins, who is sitting with my right, please state your name for the record. It's Burton Atkins.
All right.
Sorry.
Defense is also ready. There is no offer for the record.
That's correct, Your Honor. As a one half of few matters, our expectation that based on the testimony, there is a likelihood that additional charges may be added as well.
And do you know about that?
No, I've not heard of any additional charges until this point in time.
I mentioned to you earlier.
You said have.
It's the people's intention that after testimony today, likely will be able to add an assault with intent to murder along with an unlawful imprisonment.
Okay. Does that change your perspective on what your client wants to do? Or?
My understanding was the people are demanding exam, right?
Or during the victim is present.
So there's no opportunity to do anything for the defense.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying they've stated their intent to add 2 additional rather significant charges. Did you need an opportunity to discuss that with your client or not? I mean, I'm not saying you have to. I just want to make sure you have an opportunity if necessary.
Your Honor, I don't need the opportunity given that we have no option to do anything other than hold the exam or demanding to hold, so it's being held.
Okay, and your client understands that additional charges can be added. That I want to make sure that he's understanding what the people are indicating.
I'm not sure about that. Either I could explain it or the court could explain it.
Well, I don't know that that's my job. Pardon?
If we need to pass it briefly, I have no objections. You talk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to make sure that he understands what can potentially happen.
So basically, they're going to add an assault with intent to murder charge, which is their right. They're giving us notice, and they're going to try to prove that they believe. They have the right to amend the information at any time.
Sir, did you want an opportunity to speak to your attorney about that? No, you're good? Yes, sir. All right.
People, first of all, Sherelle Knight, Your Honor.
All right. Come forward to be sworn.
Swear upon the testimony about the other he's over here. Okay, so your first and last name, record, please.
Right.
How do I spell your first name?
Sherelle.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Do you know a James Atkins? How do you know him? And if you saw James, would you recognize him today? And is he in the courtroom? Can you briefly identify something he's wearing and where he's sitting? Your Honor, please let the record reflect that this witness has made an in-court identification of the defendant.
Record shall so reflect without objection.
So I'm going to direct your attention now to July 3rd of 2026, okay? On that date, were you at 2910 Cascade Drive? And is that in Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County, state of Michigan? And on that date and at that location, did the defendant do anything to you that made you come into contact with police? So I'm kind of going to start. So what happened that day? involving Mr. Adkins?
It's amazing. Yeah, just got back from dumpster diving. He found out this massaging. Try to see if it worked. Started my bag with it for a second. I was doing my makeup, and next thing I know, it was punching me. It felt like it was just punches at first, but once he threw the knife,
So I'm going to take you back. So you said you were sitting there. Where were you at in the house? Is this a house or apartment? Okay.
it's on the bed sitting on the floor. I like to be drunk when sitting Indian style. And so my family too.
Okay. So you were in the bedroom, you were on the floor, and he was on the bed.
Well, the living room was right bed.
Okay. And you said out of nowhere, he attacked you. What did he do first? What happened first?
It was from the back, so to me, it just felt like he rushed me, like from the back, and was just punching me. But like I said, I seen him throw the knife. Obviously, felt like the jerky, but I didn't know that's what it was.
Okay, let me just stop you there. You said twice that he threw the knife. Explain that to me.
Okay, so after he was done punching, I'm guessing maybe it was the knife that he had, but he threw it down. That was in my view.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Miss Sutton.
So when you said he punched you, how is he punching? With the closed fist?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or with the butt of the knife.
And where was he hitting you on your body? Just your face? Okay. And how did you feel during that moment?
He was scared and confused. Really confused.
And was he saying anything when he was hitting you?
Not while he was hitting, because after he threw the knife, he just sat on his legs. That's when he started saying, "Who's on the way? Are you setting me up? Shut up, bitch. Don't scream, or I'm gonna kill you." So I calmed down, tried to keep my voice down, just begging to let me see my girls. I just didn't. And I was asking what was wrong. Telling me to go through my phone. I just wanted to know what was going on. Because I didn't know. It just happened.
And you said you felt a cut. Where did you feel cuts on your body?
It was just more like all this was like stinging.
And where are you talking about? Sorry for all this. The neck.
My face was drooping. So I thought when he was punching, that my tooth had went through my lip. That's what I thought. But from what I seen on the pictures and the medical records, it clearly was like.
And then you said after that, he was then sitting on top of you. Did he still have the knife in his hand?
It was like after he was done punching me, or he threw the knife and then sorry.
Okay.
That's what I remember.
Okay.
When he was telling me to not scream, I don't know if he had another knife in his hand or not, but I didn't see it when my went for me because I was just looking into his eyes and just trying to figure out what was going through his head and what I could say to get him to get off. He knew I wanted to get up.
And before he threw the knife at any other point, did you feel the knife touch anywhere else on your body?
I wouldn't say touch, but I felt like, I don't know if it was his hand or something, but in order to, he would keep holding me down, and I felt like something was in my wrist. I don't say like I wouldn't say like it was like a stab, but
Felt something.
it's
And when you felt something in your rib, did he say anything to you during?
telling, don't scream.
And you said he was on top of your legs. Were you laying on the ground at that point?
I'm still sitting on my back. And
Was he facing you when he sat on your legs?
And then what happened as he was sitting on your legs? What happened next?
he, I asked him if I was gonna be okay because I was bleeding so bad. And he handed, I guess it was a pillow. He handed something to me to stop the bleeding and told me that I'd be fine, just to hold it on there. And then I went to, let's go lay down on the bed so we can both calm down. And so I did. I went to lay down. I tried, like I was trying to lay down comfortably, but just freaked out. And yeah, we just laid there for a second and then eventually he ended up calling them.
And what were you thinking at that point when he called 911?
That the person that I loved because he cared and he knew that I was hurt. Yeah. It was just confused.
And during this assault, at any point, was there anyone else in the house with you or the apartment? And during the assault, were you trying to get up to escape at any point or leave?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I was trying because obviously big he is, but I was really trying to find out what was going on. Why he was attacking me and why he was upset. And I think that's really what I wanted to know. I didn't really try to just run out. I was just in shock.
And did you have any injuries from this assault? What injuries did you have?
I guess he almost hit my jugular, back, and then my lip was. I just seen the picture, but my lip was wide open. I had my whole face was black, including both my eyes. My lip was humongous. I had like 13. You and we're still in actually, haven't actually solved yet. And mentally,
And on the date of the assault, the same day, did you have photos taken of those injuries?
I keep looking shit once I got there, and I was freaking out. And they thought they gave me medicine. I was in and out of pocket.
And sorry. Your Honor, may I approach the People's Proposed Exhibits 1 through 5?
Yes.
So sure, what did I just hand you? And if you need a break, you can take a break.
Pictures of right now. Walk us outside and you have to go back and get a sweater or something.
And when you say echo, you're referring to Mr. Adkins? And are those photos, if you want to look through all of them before answering? And if you need a moment after too, we can take a break. Do you want to take a break?
Okay. You need a minute?
Oh.
If you need a minute, you just gotta let me know. Okay. I know, but Gotta make sure you can make it through it, okay? Go on.
And are those photos fair and accurate representations of the injuries you had that day from the assault? Your Honor, I would move to those proposed exhibits 1 through 5.
Any objection or voir dire?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Exhibits 1 through 5 are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we publish those to the court?
Yes.
Sure, if you want to.
Yes. Thank you.
If I may have one moment, Your Honor.
Pardon?
One moment. please.
Yes.
Nothing further from this witness, Your Honor. We continue.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Judge. Miss Knight, my name is Ben Dunawith. I am the public defender for Mr. Adkins. I'm not going to try to trick you or anything today. If you don't understand the questions or you want them rephrased or just repeated, feel free to ask. Okay? Did you get to Mr. Adkins' location the day before? That would be July 2nd. About what time did you show up?
But that I'm gonna be close to eat. I was going over there because it was my mom's death thing. I wanted to put that for it.
Okay, was it like, well, it was before midnight because it was July 2nd, right? But was it dark out?
Necessarily dark yet. But it was about to be
Okay, so like say 8 or 9 p.m., something like that. And did the two of you start drinking right away? When did you start drinking?
Object to relevance. This assault occurred on July 3rd. I don't know how this is relevant to the assault that occurred the next day.
I think if you drink enough and consume other things that may impair your memory, it's highly relevant. I mean, that her memory of the incident is the whole thing.
And there was no previous testimony to any substances or things being involved in this.
I'm going to sustain the objection. You'll have to figure out a way to tie that up, counsel, and lay foundation for the asking of those questions.
Okay. Well, this assault you've described to the prosecutor happened the next morning, July 3rd, right? Approximately what time of day was that?
well, for 7:09 p.m.
Did the police show up pretty quick after this happened? Okay. Was 911 called like immediately when it happened?
About 20 minutes. I don't know, it felt like 20 minutes after.
20 minutes?
No.
Okay, but you're not sure.
Sure. Because I wasn't looking for it. It's ready. Like,
So if the police showed up around 7:09 a.m., you think this would have happened at like 6:50 a.m. approximately? Okay. What time did you go to bed the night before?
sir,
Okay. No, it's okay. It's all right. You're good. Go ahead. Go ahead, counsel.
What time did you go to bed the night before?
I didn't sleep. We didn't sleep. I didn't sleep because it was my mom's death date. I was trying to process that, deal with the emotions of it.
Okay. And did Mr. Atkins sleep?
Um,
Okay. Did Mr. Atkins consume anything that would have made him not sleep?
very, um,
Did you tell the police that he at some point consumed methamphetamine?
sure, yeah.
Okay.
Didn't-
Did you also tell a police officer that Mr. Atkins had got you addicted to methamphetamine? You never said that to uh sorry, just a second. Well, do you remember talking to a pretty big officer at the hospital around 11:45 a.m. that day? Like taller than me? Okay. Did you tell that officer, well, do you know him as Officer Doder, or do you remember his name? Doder. And you remember talking to him? Okay. Did you tell him that Mr. Atkins got you hooked on methamphetamine?
um,
Okay. But you're saying neither you or Mr. Atkins used any methamphetamine during any time relevant to this case? Okay. Did you or Mr. Atkins use any methamphetamine on the second or the third? Did you? When? Both? How were you using it? Okay. Was Mr. Atkins using it in the same way? How was Mr. Atkins using meth? Okay. What's the difference between the needle and smoking? Can you describe it for us?
as far as this reaction, I can't describe what it didn't have, but it's cleaner, it's quicker, doesn't take as much.
Okay.
If I can say,
Does methamphetamine affect your memory at all?
yeah, but didn't agree as far as that traumatic experience and just trauma affection.
Okay. Did you consume any other intoxicating substances during that time period? The second to the third, when you were at Mr. Atkins?
I didn't get my bottle was still laying there when I went back after I got out of the hospital, so I didn't even drink my whole half a pint of liquor.
So you drank less than half a pint of liquor? And you said weed? Anything else? Okay. Did the combination of those three substances affect your ability to recall events at all?
Your Honor, I'm gonna object as to ask and answer. She said it did not affect her memory. It's just instead.
I'll allow the answer. I'll overrule. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you sleep the night before? Like the first to the second? Okay, like full night's sleep. Okay. And what time did you get up on the second?
Like 6
Oh,
actually, I work by 6.
so would I be correct doing the math in my head? By the time the police come to Mr. Atkins' house, you had been awake for more than 25 hours? You said 5:30?
Yeah, I guess I went to maybe like 12. Yeah, I guess you told me.
Okay. Did that lack of sleep have any effect on you that you could discern? Um, and then you had testified you're sort of when the assault was about to happen, you're both sitting on the bed. Is that right? No? Okay. And your back is to him, right? And he essentially starts assaulting you, but you can't see. And you were cut on the lip, is that correct? How deep was that cut?
Pretty bleeding. Oh,
Okay, and you got a bunch of stitches for that? Did you leave the hospital the same day or the next day or several days? That would be the 4th? Okay. And what about the injury to your neck? Okay. And do you know how blood would come out of an artery versus a vein?
Jack, she's not a medical professional.
If she knows the answer, she can still answer.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay. Was blood spurting out of your neck?
I can't tell you if it was because I was so focused on my.
Okay. So was the lip the worst injury of the two?
It's to me it was, but got in the ambulance and wanted to lay back. This is what hurt most. I couldn't lay my neck flat because this is what hurt most. But the blood from my mouth, I saw.
Okay. And then you told the prosecutor after you're caught, Mr. Atkins is basically trying to assist you with the wounds. Is that right?
But on my mouth, tried to stop the bleeding. I wanted to call that.
Okay. So he's showing some concern for you at that point?
So
Okay. Do you recall him calling 911? Do you recall what he said to them? And you were like in the same room at that time, right? Okay. And do you recall you actually talked to 911? And do you recall what you told them? What did you tell 911?
exactly what he told them. I agree with everything he said. So then, get medical attention.
Okay. And is it fair to say what he told them and then what you also told them is different than the story you're telling in court today?
I mean, as far as the 911 was called,
No. So let me just rephrase it. Maybe it'll be easier. But Mr. Atkins called 911 and told them there's two suspects and gave a description. Is that fair? Okay. And you then told 911 that you agreed. Okay. And today in court, you're telling us that is not true. Okay. So And you're telling us that the reason you agreed with him is so that you would get medical attention. Okay. And then the police showed up pretty quick after the 911 call, right? And you first, I don't know if you would know the officers, but you talked to somebody named Officer Sparling, or an officer from Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
And you remember your contact with this person, right? All right. Did you initially state to Officer Sparling, they came up from behind me? And why did you say that?
Saying that's it. And I was on what I needed to because he was right there and I still was here in my life. So there I still was scared.
Where was Mr. Atkins when you said that?
I was coming up behind you, standing right here.
And the officer was standing right there too? So like, okay, like three-way conversation? Okay. All right, you just, so you said you feared for your life. Did you think Mr. Atkins was going to kill you?
Yes and no. Yes, because it wasn't him when he was on top of me and I was looking at his eyes. It wasn't I. He saw me and telling me to shut up and kill you and tell me the truth. At that moment, because it was a different tone that was coming out of him, yeah, that moment I felt like he could kill me. And obviously it was bleeding really bad, so I didn't know at that moment that the knife caught my face like that. But yeah, there was a chance. I mean, there were butcher knives everywhere. I knew that. I lived there with him before, and just when I moved out.
Okay, so, would you say he's like physically stronger than you too? Or,
I mean, I not at that moment because whenever I moved out and he wasn't eating, like when I was there, I fed him all the time, and he was a lot more. And when I moved out, so no, not at that moment.
okay. Did you think he intended to kill you at that time?
I believe that, but the injuries, where they are, I know what else now.
Okay. When you said there was knives everywhere, as like scattered around the apartment, like not for cooking, just so if he wanted to grab a knife and use it, he could at any time. And for the record, you're shaking your head yes. It's no problem. We just need to have an answer. Did you at any point ask if Mr. Adkins would go to the hospital with you? The officer asked Mr. Adkins if Mr. Adkins would go to the hospital with you. Was that before the officer determined he was a suspect? Okay, so like, right?
The door, and I grabbed my thing off, she was like, come on, let's go to the ambulance is about to go. Me and the officer were just a little bit ahead. And so we're back, he goes, wait for her. Oh, that's what, yeah, I guess go grab a sweater. And when he went back in, that's when the officer looked at me and said, did he do this to you? He did. He got on to the officer, back in.
You say he went, the officer did. Okay, thank you.
No further questions.
Any redirect? Yes. All right. Ma'am, thank you very much. You may stand.
Your Honor, this witness is excused.
Any objection?
No.
All right, this witness is excused.
Thank you. People would next call the detective Quinn here.
Please come forward and be sworn.
You solemnly swear to confirm the testimony about to give the jury. Thanks, Coach. First of all, where?
Detective Justin Quinn, first name is Jessica. Last name is Quinn, Q-I-N.
All right, make quiet.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Quinn, what do you do for a living? And how long have you been employed there? Do you have any prior law enforcement experience from that?
Sarah in Park for 11 years prior to that.
So I'm going to direct your attention now to July 3rd of 2026. Were you working on that date?
I was an on-call detective, and they called me
On that date?
Yes.
Okay. And what did they call you in reference to?
Sad.
And due to that call-in, were you dispatched over to 2910 Cascade Drive?
Yes, I came to the station and they asked me to make a search warrant because I needed to
And did you do that? And did you execute that search warrant at that residence? And is that in Ann Arbor, County of Washtenaw, State of Michigan? Okay. And what did you observe in the residence when you arrived there?
It was a very dirty apartment. There was bugs flying everywhere. There was knives in different locations. There was specifically one right right on the windowsill, just kind of a makeshift windowsill next to the window. There was a mattress on the floor, also a lid.
And when you mentioned the windowsill where the knife with the blood was, where was that in the house? Is that in the living room?
To the right of the front door, sitting right on there, there was a like non-serrated knife that looks like a steak knife, and it had blood on it.
And did you take photographs of that scene?
Sure did.
And were you there with Detective Detroit as she was taking the photographs? Without them being taken?
Yes.
And you may approach the witness people's proposed exhibits 6 through 11.
Yes, you may.
That's the my favorite color. Yeah, it is.
Just gonna get one moment, Your Honor, to number these. Hey, Detective, what did I just hand you?
Sure, all living rooms.
And that's living room at the 2910 Cascade Drive.
Yes.
And we'll just go through each one individually. What is the next one?
The next one is shows like a closer up look of bed. There's a bloody pillow on the bed.
And number 8, I believe.
Number 8 is there's blood all over, like some kind of pad that they had. One of those pads that you see in a kid's playroom. It has blood all over it. And then there's also, and that's right next to the bed with the bloody pillow.
And 9.
9 is a picture of the non-serrated steak knife that we found. As you can see, it's kind of like a, I don't know if it was like kind of a table that butts up to the window, so it kind of looks like a window ledge, but it was right next.
And is that the knife you were referring to? And 10.
That's also another picture after we picked it up, and
That being the knife.
then also number 11. And as you can see on this picture, there's blood along the whole entire skin.
And are those fair and accurate representations of the scene that you observed at 2910 Cascade Drive on the day that you executed that search warrant? And Your Honor, the people would move to admit people's proposed exhibits 6 through 11.
Any objection or voir dire?
No.
Exhibit 6 through 11 are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we publish those to the court?
Okay. Thank you.
And then skipping a bit forward in time, were you working on July 7th, 2026? And on that date, did you have another interview with Sherelle Knight?
Yes, I did.
And at that interview, did you take photographs of follow-up photos of her injuries that day? And Your Honor, if I could have one moment to renumber.
Right.
And Your Honor, may I show witness people's proposed exhibits 12 through 23.
Sure.
My objection. Other ones are from the day off.
I'm not going through them individually if you want to take a look through beforehand. And do you recognize those? And what are those?
She was when she came in for the interview.
And are those photos all fair and accurate representations of the photos you took of her follow-up injuries on that July 7th date? And the people would move to admit people's proposed exhibits, I believe it's 12 through 23.
Any objection or voir dire?
No.
Exhibits 12 through 23 are admitted.
And maybe publish those to the court, Your Honor.
Sure.
And if I could have one moment, Your Honor.
For the students.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Detective. My name is Ben Denowith. I'm the public defender. So you took pictures of 2 knives, is that correct?
2 knives?
Yeah. Oh, did you take the pictures at the scene? Okay, but do you remember seeing more than 1 knife? Okay. Did you ever determine which knife was suspected to be in the assault?
One with the blood, like.
Okay, and that it's the one on the popcorn box in the picture, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you say the blade on that knife is about 5 or 6 inches? Or
The popcorn box, I think that the detective drew, I mean, I could be speculating, but I mean, it looks like it's put by a popcorn box to show the size of it.
okay, can I retrieve those pictures from the court?
Which one? You know?
I'm going to the popcorn box. Okay, so
It's exhibit 10.
thank you. I'm just going to ask you about exhibit and so
Can I see it?
okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It's actually probably bigger than 6 inches, would you say? Was that the standard size popcorn box that, you know, they give away for free at Ace Hardware or whatever? Okay.
Yes.
So, I don't know, is it about the size of like a notepad or a little shorter maybe? Okay. Would you agree that's a fairly sizable knife that could definitely kill someone if used properly?
Anyone has any pills?
Okay, or improperly, I should. Okay. Did you send that knife to the lab for any work? And why was that?
Because I don't think there was any suspicion that the knife would have his DNA on it, so inside his house. And the knife had blood all over it, along with blood that's on her. We had no evidence. So it seemed irrelevant to send it.
Did you have any other suspects? And you were aware that initially 911 was told by both the defendant and the complaining witness that there were 2 suspects that were not the same race as the defendant. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, but you had eliminated them by the time of your execution of the search warrant?
According to the officers, the victims statute.
Okay, and so there was no reason to look for any DNA or fingerprints from any other suspect because of those statements, correct? Nothing else for defense?
Can you redirect?
No, you're.
May step down. Thank you.
We will have no further witnesses, Your Honor.
Any witnesses for the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
There are people who buy them. Or I would ask the court, as part of item, to add 2 additional counts. One of assault with intent to murder, which is MCL 750.83, and that is a life offense.
28.83.
750.83, Your Honor.
Say that. Okay.
And I would also ask the court to add a count of unlawful imprisonment, which is MCL 750.349 B, which is a 15-year and/or $20,000 fine. Count 6, I believe, and 7.
Yes. Okay.
Your Honor, I would ask the court to bind over the defendant as charged with the additional counts. The court heard from Sherelle Knight as to the assault committed by the defendant, in which he attacked her from behind, punching her, hitting her numerous times in the face area, along with a stab to her neck and a cut to her lip that were both extremely serious. She did testify that she felt that the defendant was intending to kill her at that point and that she was in fear for her life. The court further heard testimony that there was the assault with the knife and that there's a domestic relationship. I do believe at this point we have that the burden of probable cause as to all charges, including the additional charges, and would ask the court to bind over the defendant as charged to circuit court.
Response.
Your Honor, the defense objects to the bind over. I'd first like to address the false imprisonment. The elements are that he knowingly restrained her. I didn't hear any testimony about that. She says,
What about the sitting on the legs that are trying to get out? Wouldn't that constitute the requisite
I don't think
restraint?
he's preventing her from leaving. I thought that was part of the assault. I think the false imprisonment specifically requires not allowing another person to move. If you're assaulting a person, and this is obviously in an apartment, which is a confined area, but an assault in a confined area is not necessarily a false imprisonment unless that person is not allowed to leave. I think you can show the defendant did not intend that because the complaining witness said he called 911. He is the one attempting to get her help. And I mean, yes, I understand that is not necessarily consistent with the rest of the story. That's what she told us. She's assaulted. She doesn't know why. He calls 911 and starts putting a pillow on her injuries. So there's no intent to restrain her from going anywhere. And then the officer shows up and they all walk out apparently, and the officers notified.
But couldn't the false imprisonment occur and then the defendant do something else? That doesn't negate the false imprisonment. And specifically what I'm talking about is once he does the stabbing and then sits on her legs, that in and of itself, this court believes, I think, unless you want to tell me something different, can constitute the false imprisonment, because at that time she's restrained from leaving. If at some later point he gets up off her legs, may change his mind that he needs to call whoever, it doesn't really matter. That doesn't negate the false imprisonment, does it?
I don't think you can be false imprisoned for 10 seconds if somebody's sitting on your legs, though. I mean, yeah, it's a specific intent to restrain her. So it's not that he's sitting on her legs. These are all specific intent crimes. He has to intention.
That's going to be a question of issue for the fact finder, isn't it?
It's an element. No, it's an element of the crime. It's right here in front of the court. It's probable cause standard, but sure, they have to show all the elements.
Intent. This court can't decide intent.
At
this stage. No, I can't. If there's zero evidence of intent, that's one thing. If there's evidence of something that could constitute or go to somebody's intent, I certainly can't make that finding at this stage.
There's no evidence he intended to restrain her. There's evidence he tried to have her leave.
Counsel, go on with your argument. Okay. Because you're wrong.
Literally calls 911 by the complaining witness's testimony, which is not falsely restraining her, it's getting her transported to a hospital. So, no, I don't think sitting on her legs and, followed up immediately by he's tending to her medical needs, which she alleges he just caused, but she says he's, being nice to her and wiping the blood off her face. I mean, it's not something you see every day, but that's not intending to restrain her. He's attempting to ensure that she's okay. So next, the assaults. There's now 4 different assaults in front of this court. Count 3 is DV, but with the third offense notice, that's just the misdemeanor that they were in a dating relationship and there was an assault. But counts 1, 2, the FA, and then the added AWIM 6. Defense objects based on his intent. I mean, she says that's not him. She looked in his eyes and doesn't know what he's doing. And the next, it seems like in the next few seconds, the next sequence is he's trying to stop the bleeding. So no, you can't say that he intended to kill that person with, I'm sorry, a gigantic knife that was basically bigger than her neck. She gets a cut that takes, it looks like 5 or 6 stitches and is released from the hospital the next day. If you stab a person in the neck with a 10-inch knife and you intend them to die, I think it would happen. That is essentially, a surface wound. They don't release you from the hospital the next day if somebody's cut. I don't think these injuries at all show an intent to murder. I don't think it shows an intent to create bodily harm. What is the bodily harm? I understand she's scarred, and that is horrible, but what is the great bodily harm? She's out of the hospital the next day. She's able to go to the police station. She does have injuries depicted in the photos, but what is the great bodily harm? She's, doesn't have a broken jaw where she can't eat for a month or something like that. It's clearly an injury and it's a horrible situation, but it's not great bodily harm to have a cut that requires 5 stitches. And I don't think his intent to do anything worse at all being inferred, because he clearly had the opportunity to do much worse. If you believe the complaining witness, he's somehow out of his mind for some period of time, but he clearly has the ability to kill her. He has a giant knife in his hand. She says there's knives everywhere. Okay. If he has the intent to kill, he would have killed. If he has the intent to do great bodily harm, he would have done great bodily harm. If he has the intent to disfigure her, I think she would have been disfigured. I don't believe there's any testimony that her injuries for the rest of her life, so I don't believe she was disfigured. Or she may have been, but there simply wasn't testimony to support it. Disfigure means you were made to look different forever. If she is not disfigured, there's no intent to maim. So I'd ask the court to quash counts 1, 2, 6, and 7. The defense has to concede the DVs. The misdemeanor is not up today. And the defense will get the FA based on the testimony.
We'll just add a few for the court. The court heard testimony from Miss Knight as to the defendant almost hitting her jugular, and that required 6 stitches. She also has stitches in her lip and scars. She had bruising on her face, on her legs, on her arms. What I saw was petechiae in her eyes in the photos from this assault from the defendant. She also has the moment of where the defendant has the knife and tells her, "Don't scream or I'll kill you," which also would fit the unlawful imprisonment as to restraining someone with a dangerous. Furthermore, he then not only calls on one, but he makes up a story that she has to go along with until she's able to get out of his grasp, basically, with officers to finally explain to them what actually happened. So I do believe that we have met our burden by probable cause as to all the charges and would ask the court to bind over the defendant as charged to certain.
So that we can get one thing straight. Where there is evidence of someone's specific intent to commit a crime, this court is not the final arbiter of that intent, because one intent may be shown by what they did, what they said, how they did it, or by any other facts and circumstances and evidence. those are particular items that that would be necessary to go to the trier of fact to make a determination in this case. The testimony of the victim in this case indicates that the um, the defendant in this case began doing something behind her. And I'm just going to say this: I find Miss Knight's testimony exceedingly credible because she could have exaggerated a number of things at certain points, but she very clearly would state when she could see something, when she couldn't see something, what she knew and what she didn't know. She didn't realize the disfigurement on her lip and face, or at least the extent of it, and she said so, but that she knew she had been sliced or cut because of the blood, as she put it, spilling or dripping from her face. The defendant then, at some point, after doing all of that to her, and I want to make it also clear that the people are absolutely right. Her testimony was some of these slices, punctures, and pokes at her that she received the stitches in her neck very close to her jugular. Any event, and when one gets to the false imprisonment or the unlawful imprisonment, that can be shown by what somebody did physically. It can also be shown by what they said at the given moment. And a combination of all that certainly could form the intent necessary to constitute the unlawful imprisonment. Testimony of Miss Knight is that at some point he comes around, he sits on her legs, staring in her face, and then utters those words of "Don't scream, I'll kill you," or the like. That's certainly in this court's mind is enough to constitute the actions of the defendant, as well as his words, to constitute the requisite restraint necessary for the unlawful imprisonment. I am a bit confused by the defendant's argument that he could have done something, but because he didn't or wasn't successful, there couldn't have been his intent to commit murder. It's an interesting argument because what that would mean is we would have no need for assault to intent to commit murder because there would be nothing that would happen if somebody didn't actually complete the crime of committing them. The wounds that are exhibited, particularly in exhibits 1 through 6, or 1 through 5, of the defendant's head area and her body and cuts that she obtained. I certainly believe that the people have sustained their burden, as certainly to count 1, the intent to maim. I don't know if one talks about the permanent disfigurement, but it really is the mutilation. Its permanency can be changed by, quite frankly, medical or surgical procedures, but that doesn't. It's the act of the maiming or disfiguring of the person that constitutes really that offense. As to count 2, the assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder, or by strangulation, if you listen to the testimony of Miss Knight, I think certainly the people have sustained their burden in showing that offense. With reference to count 6, the assault with intent to murder, guess we can all be thankful that the defendant just wasn't successful, but I think his intent at that given moment, that may have changed at some point, but his intent at the moment that he cuts her face and then slices her neck, certainly a fact finder could conclude that it was his intent at that moment to kill or murder Miss Knight. So for that, and the court encompassing all of the record, the court does believe that the people have indeed sustained their burden, would bind the defendant over to stand trial on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 with count 5 following.
And with the formal reading.
If you're waiving presentation of the information at this time.
Yes.
Defendant standing mute, waiving formal reading, standing mute to those charges. Court will enter a not guilty plea as to all 7 counts. Pretrial in this matter will be set
11th at 1:30 with Judge Cummings.
August 11th, 2026, 1:30. Bond. What is his bond? It one,
Surety.
quite frankly, given what I've seen, not high enough, but I'll leave it where it is. Bond will continue.
Thank you. And information on the report as soon as possible.
Very good.